Now, he made a shocking confession to authorities, saying that he is a member of the vicious Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, and that gang is smuggling firearms into migrant shelters.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a Venezuelan gang member in New York City who shot not one, but two cops. And he said that the gang he's part of are smuggling guns inside of these so-called migrant shelters all over the city. Now, in case you don't know, there's over 150 hotels being used just for migrants, nobody else, meaning you can't go onto the internet and book one of these hotels for yourself. You want to go to New York City, visit Times Square, Empire State Building, all this, that, and the third. You cannot go to those hotels because they are for migrants. So they have hotels and I suppose just shelters outside the hotels. You're going to have all kind of drugs, guns, violence, a lot of babies being born because they're anchor babies. You're going to have all kind of stuff happening in these places, and it's organized. It's not just by accident. It ain't just by happenstance. Oops, here's a gun randomly in the room. No, it's being organized by criminals, and these criminals were criminals in their country of origin. They might have been locked up in their country of origin, but because our border policy is non-existent, their country can just free them and say, hey, go to America, get out of the country. They will deport them out of the country and tell them to come here. You have countries flushing their toilets of their worst people onto American shores, and we're just taking it like it's all good, talking about they're going to be good for their economy, they're going to be fruit pickers and bed makers, like Barack Obama said. Now, I'm getting triggered, so before we go any further, let's get to the actual news clip, and of course, I will link to everything in the box, but without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Suspect identified as a Venezuelan migrant accused of shooting two officers after they tried to pull him over for driving the wrong way. But prosecutors say his criminal activity goes much deeper than this one incident.
Fox 5's Jessica Formosa joins us live from East Elmhurst with what he allegedly fessed up to. Jess.
Natasha and Teresa, he said a lot, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But as you recall, this suspect came into this country illegally a year ago. He was arraigned on a number of charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. He used to live here at this shelter off Dimars Boulevard, but says he was kicked out. Now, he made a shocking confession to authorities, saying that he is a member of the vicious Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, and that gang is smuggling firearms into migrant shelters.
Let's pause right here. Now, this appears to be a pretty nice shelter behind me. I can't tell what's happening on the inside. It might be kind of raggedy, but it looks kind of nice from the outside. And they said he got kicked out. Well, maybe when he got kicked out, he should have been deported. Maybe that should have been what happened. Or maybe, just maybe, here's a novel idea. New York State and New York City should not be sanctuaries because you're going to attract gang members and people like that from all over the world.
Bernardo Raul Castro Mata, the Venezuelan migrant who shot 2 police officers earlier this month, came face to face with the judge this morning. The 19-year-old arrived in a wheelchair and didn't say a word, but prosecutors say he spoke at length with investigators, giving shocking details of that night and what he's been up to since he arrived in New York City. He told cops he worked for DoorDash and received the gun he used to shoot the officers from a friend.
Last night, I was coming home from work. I was in a car with my friend, and my friend, Jose Maita, gave me a bag with a gun in it and asked me to keep it for her.
The suspect confessing to police that he's a member of the notorious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. According to audio recordings read by prosecutors, Mata claims he was recruited by a cousin to join the gang to do robberies. But the most shocking claim, the gang has been smuggling guns into city-run shelters.
Tren de Aragua members are smuggling firearms into city shelters inside food delivery packages. That way they'll have to go through the metal detector.
On June 3rd, two NYPD officers attempted to pull him over for driving an unregistered scooter the wrong way on a one-way street in East Elmhurst. As police tried to pull him over, Mata ran off. Police chased him, and when they caught up with him, he resisted arrest. Mata allegedly fired at both officers, shooting Officer Christopher Abreu in the leg and Officer Richard Yaruso point blank in the front of his bulletproof vest.
Now, what I heard is that this gang from Venezuela, they don't mind shooting cops. That's like a regular thing for them. It's normal, because you got to understand, these guys coming from these different countries where it's nothing to engage in like guerrilla warfare, shooting cops in the military is nothing to them. They don't really mind. And these are the people that you are inviting to your city when you become a sanctuary. Like, I don't understand the thought process of Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams. I don't get it.
In court this morning, the ADA says Mata also said that shooting at police officers is what they do in his home country.
It is common practice for Tren de Aragua gang members to shoot at police officers because Venezuelan police officers shoot at gang members for minor infractions. Venezuelan police officers get shot often in my home country because criminals feel there is a chance of getting away.
He was once again held without bail.
This dangerous individual.
He's telling you, hey, you know what? We have these customs in our home country. We shoot at cops, it's nothing. So imagine when you get a bunch of these guys in your city who have that mentality. Shooting at cops is nothing. I mean, this is going to create a really dangerous environment, more dangerous than it already is in a place like New York.
Bail.
This dangerous individual wasn't afraid to shoot a New York City police officer because he thought he was going to get away with it. Not in this country.
Now, Mata pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. Now, since he ratted out his gang, his attorney did ask the judge to keep him in protective custody. The judge did grant that request. Now, we did reach out to DoorDash. They just got back to us saying that they have no record of anyone by that name working for DoorDash.
Well, he probably has a bunch of different names. So, you know, whatever name he gave y'all, whatever name he gave to the police. And then here's something else. If you got these illegal aliens coming over, do they have proper documentation? Do they have identification? Do they have the correct ID? Who knows? You could have a fake ID. Like his face, I'll see that face a million times in the Hispanic neighborhood. So he could have anybody on his ID. He could tell you that his name is anything. Meanwhile, that's not even his name. And you got to go back to his country of origin. Maybe you find a fingerprint and you find out who he really is. But then once you do that, then you're going to see the extensive criminal history, the extensive criminal background before you even got to the country. He probably already been locked up for a serious offense before in Venezuela. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to New York City, New York State. I mean, this is what you have voted for. This is what you want. I don't wish this on y'all. And shout out to everybody in New York, you know, my good conservative people. Shout out to you guys. I'm sorry you're going through this. You don't deserve this. If you did not vote for this, if this is not what you supported, you don't deserve it. However, those around you, your friends, some of your family, some of your acquaintances, people that are on a train with you, they voted for this. So now you're having to deal with the consequences. Violent illegal aliens from all over the world that don't mind shooting cops, that don't mind shooting you, that don't mind stealing resources. That's part of the problem. Solution, close the border. Simple. Close the border. Stop the bleeding, because the illegals who are already here, they're already here, and you're going to have a hard time being able to find them and deport them. Close the border and stop the bleeding, please. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on this Venezuelan migrant shooting not one but two cops and then confessing, yeah, I'm a gang member. Yeah, we smuggle guns into the actual homeless shelter. And yeah, we don't mind shooting cops in our country of origin. It's nothing. It's regular activity. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is the consequence of voting a certain way, of having a certain type of political ideology. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get violent, dangerous criminals from all over the world, and you're going to be burdened with the task of trying to stop them. Maybe just don't invite them in the first place, and it won't be a thing you got to actually worry about. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.